On a tranquil Thursday morning, Nathan Ryan was engrossed in fine-tuning performance metrics for an imminent client presentation. The office was wrapped in a soft stillness, the kind that fades into the background, almost imperceptible. His phone vibrated sharply, cutting through the serene atmosphere. A text from his wife Sarah lit up the screen. "I'm filing for divorce. All further contact will go through my lawyer, Daniel Carter. His information will be sent shortly." No preamble, no hint of dialogue, just a cold, deliberate message that shattered their 14-year union. Nathan stared at the screen, not yet gripped by sorrow, but struck by the surgical precision of her words. She'd already enlisted legal counsel, already deemed him unworthy of a face-to-face discussion. He responded with one word: "Noted." Within the hour, he began the methodical process of disentangling their shared existence. Sarah had access to 4 credit cards, all registered under Nathan's accounts as an authorized user. He swiftly removed her from each. The regular monthly stipend he'd been transferring to her account was stopped immediately. He logged her out of their shared streaming subscriptions, updating every password. The SUV she drove was leased under his name, insured through his policy. He didn't alter the insurance yet, but marked it for his attorney's attention. The fuel card, also tied to his account, was deactivated. This wasn't driven by malice. It was a pragmatic response to the parameters Sarah had established. She wanted a legal confrontation, and Nathan would meet her on that battlefield. No emotions, no presumed trust, just the structure she'd defined. Daniel Carter's contact details arrived 45 minutes later. Nathan forwarded them to Lauren, a divorce attorney renowned for her incisive intellect and unwavering tactics. Her fees were substantial, but her success rate was formidable. He sent her Sarah's text and scheduled an urgent consultation. That evening, he returned home to find Sarah's wardrobe significantly sparse. She'd made her departure, and he'd respond in kind. 3 days later, on a quiet Sunday afternoon, Nathan's phone rang. He let it ring 3 times before answering. "Mr. Ryan, this is Daniel Carter representing Sarah Ryan," the voice declared, formal and brisk. Carter alleged Sarah was in financial distress. Her cards declined, unable to purchase necessities like groceries or gas. He described Nathan's actions as financially oppressive and warned that courts would view them unfavorably. Nathan maintained a calm tone, reminding Carter that Sarah had mandated communication solely through attorneys. She'd ended their marriage with a text, avoiding any informal financial obligations. If she required support, she could seek it through official legal avenues. Carter paused, the faint rustle of papers audible, then said he'd follow up. "You're doing so now," Nathan replied, hanging up. His pulse quickened, but his focus remained unshaken. He called Lauren and detailed the conversation. She listened closely, posed sharp questions, and confirmed his actions were sound. Sarah had no legal claim to the deactivated cards or stipend. They were Nathan's alone, not joint assets. If Carter pursued support, he'd need to file a motion, and they'd respond based on Sarah's actual needs, not her former lifestyle. Before disconnecting, Lauren noted, "You're not just reacting, Nathan. That's calculated. She expected you to waver." Nathan wasn't wavering. He was strategizing. That evening, he began to see Sarah, not as his partner, but as the legal adversary she'd elected to be. He meticulously documented every email, every canceled account, every financial move. She wanted a negotiation, not a marriage, so they'd negotiate. On Tuesday evening, as Nathan cleared his dinner dishes, his phone buzzed again. It was Megan, Sarah's older sister. "Nathan, what's going on?" she demanded, her tone edged with frustration. "Sarah's sleeping at my place, crying her eyes out. She can't even afford groceries. You cut her off completely." Nathan explained that Sarah had insisted on lawyer-only communication, and he was complying with her wishes. She'd hired an attorney before even addressing him, terminating their marriage with a single message. Megan hesitated, then said, "She thought you'd keep helping her until everything was settled." Nathan leaned against the kitchen counter. "She never asked. She filed and directed me to Carter." I'm respecting her decision. Megan argued that Sarah was scared. Broke. Nathan said, I didn't walk away or lawyer up first. I didn't end 14 years with a one-line text. Megan fell silent, then muttered, You were distant for months. Maybe, Nathan acknowledged. But I didn't erase her from my life without a word. The following morning, a bank alert notified Nathan of an attempted withdrawal from an old joint checking account. One untouched for years with only $450 remaining. Sarah had found the card among her belongings and tried to access the funds. The bank flagged the activity and froze the account. Nathan visited the branch, explained the ongoing divorce, and requested a full freeze pending legal instructions. Lauren commended the move, noting it highlighted Sarah's attempt to circumvent legal processes. The emergency hearing took place the following Monday. Nathan wore a charcoal suit, light blue shirt, no tie, as Lauren advised, professional yet not overly formal. Sarah sat across the courtroom, hair pulled back tightly, dressed in simple attire, her gaze fixed downward. She appeared weary, almost fragile. Carter opened with an impassioned narrative, claiming Nathan had financially abandoned Sarah, leaving her without shelter or basic necessities. Lauren stood composed. Your Honor, we'd like to submit the initial text from Mrs. Ryan, directing all communication through counsel, sent before any financial changes were made. The judge, a perceptive man in his 60s, read the message silently. Lauren continued, presenting bank records proving Sarah was only an authorized user on Nathan's accounts, not a co-owner. Nathan had maintained the mortgage, utilities, property taxes, and SUV lease, essential expenses, while only restricting discretionary access. Carter leaned heavily on emotional arguments, but the judge interjected. Mrs. Ryan, did you discuss financial arrangements with your husband before sending this text? Sarah faltered. I didn't feel comfortable having that conversation. Did he threaten you? The judge asked. No, she admitted. Did he request a discussion? I didn't give him the chance. The judge's ruling was swift. Temporary support for basic needs only. No luxury budget, no legal fees. Nathan felt a quiet sense of relief wash over him. Then HR called Nathan into a private meeting with his supervisor and a compliance officer. An anonymous complaint alleged he'd used company resources for personal legal matters and was emotionally erratic at work. The timing pointed directly to Sarah. Nathan clarified he'd used only personal devices, providing logs to substantiate his claim. His supervisor, Tom, supported him. Nathan's been consistent. The complaint was dismissed within 24 hours. Nathan called Lauren, who wasn't surprised. That's retaliatory, she said. They couldn't prove Sarah's involvement conclusively, but it matched her pattern, and the judge could consider it in future proceedings. That night, Sarah violated her own rule. A text arrived at 10:15 p.m. Nathan, please don't take the SUV. I got the notice. I need it for my job. Can we talk? She was employed now. Nathan screenshotted the message, sent it to Lauren, and replied, Arrive. Please contact Mr. Carter for all communication. No response followed. The SUV remained under Nathan's name, lease, insurance, everything. Lauren had already notified Carter. Transfer the lease to Sarah within 30 days or return the vehicle, or Nathan would stop payments. She bends her own rules when they don't serve her, Lauren remarked. Stay disciplined. That's why we're in control. Nathan filed a motion for exclusive use of the house as Sarah hadn't lived there in weeks. Meanwhile, the SUV was repossessed 35 days after the notice. Sarah hadn't transferred the lease or returned the keys. The leasing company retrieved it from Megan's apartment complex. Megan called outraged. You sent someone to take her car? What kind of person does that? Nathan responded calmly. Did Sarah think she could keep a vehicle she doesn't own while I pay for it? She had over a month to act. He forwarded the call log to Lauren. Financial discovery revealed Sarah's duplicity. She'd portrayed herself as penniless, but Lauren uncovered a savings account funded by her parents during their marriage. Not a fortune, but significant and undisclosed. Carter argued it was separate property, but Lauren countered that it was acquired during the marriage, supported by their shared resources and intentionally concealed. This bolstered Nathan's position. The house motion was granted and he began preparing the property for sale, arranging appraisals and inspections. Sarah fought the sale, but her options were shrinking. The judge noted her hidden account and the HR complaint, which Lauren presented as evidence of bad faith tactics. The trial set for late July never took place. 10 days prior, Carter conceded the judge had grown frustrated with Sarah's incomplete disclosures and last-minute filings, stating, "Your client's approach lacks transparency, Mr. Carter." Sarah agreed to settle. The terms favored Nathan. A 65-35 split of the house equity due to her concealed funds and financial disengagement in their final year, 15 months of capped spousal support, and no retroactive payments. Her parents' fund was deemed separate, but documented to prevent future claims. The SUV remained Nathan's. Sarah moved into a modest apartment on the city's west side, reportedly freelancing as a web designer, but struggling to make ends meet. Her savings dwindled and her social circle, once vocal, gradually dispersed. She never offered an apology, not for the text, the silence, or the conflict she'd ignited. Nathan sold the house, banked the proceeds, and severed all remaining connections. He rejoined a fitness class, refined his friendships, and found restful sleep returned naturally. Stability wasn't a luxury. It was his new reality. Weeks later, Nathan encountered Megan at a bookstore. She hesitated, nearly walking away, then approached. "She talks about you sometimes, says she mishandled the timing, the message, the lawyer. She regrets how she went about it." Nathan asked, "Does she regret the decision itself?" Megan didn't know. He nodded. He'd seen the signs a year earlier, her growing distance, her irritation when he worked late. He hadn't strayed or abandoned her, but he'd missed the cues or chosen to ignore them. She hadn't spoken up, hadn't said, "We need to work on this." She'd chosen strategy over dialogue, a lawyer over a conversation. Lauren's words lingered. Some people don't want resolution, they want control. Sarah had sought to dominate the exit. When that failed, she was left with the silence she'd created. Her rules unraveled their marriage. Nathan's resolved the conflict.